The film opens in 1982 exhibiting the huge frosty region of Antarctica. A little snowcat maneuvers through the ice field with three Norwegian researchers ready. Seems like the arrangement for an exceptionally inept joke. They're attempting to follow a specific sign. At first everything seems typical as they trade jokes and participate in an easygoing discussion. However, before long their gadget radiates major areas of strength for they choose to pause and examine the region, yet before that the ice underneath them starts to disintegrate, causing their snowcat to dive through into a crevice where it becomes wedged. In the following scene we are acquainted with an American scientist named Kate Lloyd who is right now looking at an animal at her lab. During this she is visited by two specialists, a Norwegian researcher named Dr. Sander Halvorsen and his colleague Adam Finch, who informs her it becomes wedged. In the following scene we are acquainted with an American scientist named Kate Lloyd who is right now looking at an animal at her lab. During this she is visited by two specialists, a Norwegian researcher named Dr. Sander Halvorsen and his colleague Adam Finch, who informs her regarding their new revelation, a construction and a living being. To lead an itemized study they need a scientist, so they request that Kate go with them to Antarctica, which she consents to. Following this the group sheets a helicopter and heads towards the Norwegian camp in Antarctica with pilots Sam and crew member Griggs on their way. Sam illuminates them that they need to enclose up their main goal by several days because of a coming tempest. After some time they land at Thule Station, where they are invited by a specialist named Lars who doesn't communicate in English. Burning through no time Lars drives the group towards the assigned area, 1,000-year-old ice cavern. Upon appearance they are invited by a gathering of geologists drove by the station boss named Edvard Wallner. Edvard acquaints them with his colleagues prior to directing them more profound into the cavern. Before long he shows them a cutting-edge spaceship that was tracked down. Inside some separation from the spaceship they show Kate, a bizarre outsider-like animal encased station boss named Edvard Wallner. Edvard acquaints them with his colleagues prior to directing them more profound into the cavern. Before long he shows them a cutting-edge spaceship that was tracked down. Inside some separation from the spaceship they show Kate, a bizarre outsider-like animal encased in an enormous block of ice, which leaves her in shock. This is much more authentic than that crap they tracked down in Mexico. Back at camp they examine the evacuation of the animal, which they accept will require no less than 1 day. The next morning the group uncovers the animal from the ice block. Nearly going to have practical effects like the original, but the dickhead producers with all the money said no CGI. We're left with this garbage. Jameson anxiously goes back to his team members and alerts everyone about the incident. They all hurry to the room and at the ceiling in shock because nobody thought that the alien would be alive after thousands of years. After this Dr. Sander directs the team to split into 2s and 3s and search for the creature. One pair investigates the dog's kennel and covers a large hole in the wall along with blood and fur. Another pair, Henrik and Olaf, spots the creature beneath one of the wooden huts. Upon closer inspection the creature resembles a large beetle which is slimy, has multi-crab-like legs, a large mouth with giant teeth and tentacles. All the fans in Japan say yay. As soon as Henrik turns his back to the creature, one of its tentacles pierces through his chest, splattering blood on Olaf's face. The creature then drags Henrik back under the hut and begins digging on him. Olaf screams out of fear, prompting giant teeth and tentacles. All the fans in Japan say yay. As soon as Henrik turns his back to the creature, one of its tentacles pierces through his chest, splattering blood on Olaf's face. The creature then drags Henrik back under the hut and begins digging on him. Olaf screams out of fear, prompting giant teeth and tentacles. All the fans in Japan say yay. As soon as Henrik turns his back to the creature, one of its tentacles pierces through his chest, splattering blood on Olaf's face. The creature then drags Henrik back under the hut and begins digging on him. Olaf screams out of fear, prompting meanwhile Olaf and Griggs get into Helicopter with Carter and Jameson and the four take off. Kate swiftly surges outside to stop them. Dr. Sander questions her demonstration and she demands that they should leave. Fortunately, Carter sees Kate flagging them, so he chooses to land all at once. Griggs' face startlingly parts 50. Exemplary. Griggs and his chest opens to uncover and rib-like teeth. He before long changes into an enormous animal and assaults Olaf, making the helicopter collide with the mountains, apparently killing every one of the four individuals. Subsequent to seeing this, the remainder of the colleagues attempt to look for help from outside Antarctica, yet the oncoming tempest disturbs correspondence channels. Edford chooses to move every one of the individuals to the subsequent camp. In the meantime, Kate goes to the restroom to examine the bloodstains, just to think that they are strangely evaporated. Somebody in the group has a ShamWell. Astounded, she returns to the group and urges them not to leave since something peculiar is occurring. Kate makes sense of her hypothesis that the outsider can clone an individual by imitating human cells. Also, she guarantees that the justification for why metal stuff is found external. The casualty's body is on the grounds that they can't be reproduced by the outsiders. Notwithstanding, her alerts fail to be noticed and everybody leaves the room aside from Juliet. Afterward, Juliet draws Kate to an unwanted room where she uncovers herself to be the outsider animal. She dispatches her assault on Kate, yet the last option some way or another figures out how to get away from out of the room. While going through the corridor, she experiences Carl and advises him to run. Nonetheless, he doesn't and subsequently succumbs to the rough animal. No Carl. As Kate closes the way to the foyer, Lars and Adam show up for certain weapons. Lars holds a flamethrower and torches the animal. Subsequently, while discarding Carl and Juliet's bodies, Kate makes sense of that. The animal works like an infection. Anybody coming into contact with its blood or some portion of the animal's cells gets absorbed. Nonetheless, she doesn't know of its answer. Adam proposes that they quarantine themselves until the danger is wiped out. Dr. Sander then at that point demands a blood test to recognize who might be tainted. After this, Lars and Kate debilitate all the snowcats while Adam and Dr. Sander work in the lab. Before you remark saying this is very much like a Magoo's, simply realize the thing started things out. That very night, Carter and Jameson show up at the camp in the wake of enduring the helicopter crash. Everybody accepts that they should be the animal's imitations since they could never have recently left such a perilous accident. One of the colleagues named Paydar even focuses a weapon at them. However, Kate mediates. She recommends that they be restricted into a room until their blood tests can be tried. At the point when the group returns subsequent to securing the pilots, they find that somebody consumed the research facility with all the blood tests in it. Overreacted, they begin to blame each other, yet Kate thinks of a plan to direct another test. She snatches a spotlight and continues to really take a look at everybody's mouths. Those with dental fillings are considered protected as the animal's imitations can't recreate inorganic materials. The suspects are reduced to Dr. Sander, Edward, Colin and Adam, who need dental fillings. My caches on Adam. Adams are consistently CG imitations. Kate holds them all at gunpoint and teaches Lars and his companion Jonas to get Jameson and Carter. In the following scene, the two head to the structure holding the pilots just to find the spot vacant. It just so happens Carter and Jameson have gotten away from through an opening in the floor. Lars starts to look for them, yet he out of nowhere maneuvered into a structure